Hi friends, welcome to my channel. I am Sunique and I'm doing a little unboxing of an older deck here, the Medieval Scapini Tarot. This is a US game system deck. Let's just take the wrapping off so we can stop this glare. Yeah, I thought I'd take a little look at this one. After having the Visconti Tarot in the Total Tarot magazine, it sort of had piqued my interest really. So yeah, that's why I bought it. So let's have a little look inside the top box. So this is Luigi Scapini, who the deck is named for, medieval. We have a little white book. So this is, oh look, so the original's 1985 by the looks of this, and this is the 2020 version. So it's a recreation of the Middle Ages of Europe with symbolism, costume and setting. There's a gold backgrounds of the court cards, and the major arcana recall the great Tarocchi of 15th century Italy. And many images on the cards are inspired by masterpieces of the Renaissance. While surrounding the reader with the atmosphere of medieval and Renaissance times, the cards reveal the eternal story of the tarot, relating to the chaos of modern everyday life in the city and to the earthy activities of country life. Both the susceptibilities and the virtues of human nature are illustrated within universal situations. Okay, so yeah, so it's based on history. There we go. So an introduction to the tarot itself, very brief, and then straight into the cards. So it looks like it describes what's on the card and then gives a meaning. So those are the majors. Does it say the same for the minors? Yes, the same, but not as much detail. So the whole of the little white book is in English, which is great. Do we have any spreads in here? We have a 10 cards, oh, Celtic Cross. We have a Celtic Cross spread. So nothing new there, and the end. Okay, so that's the little white book. Let's have a little look at the cards. Like I say, I don't really know much about this deck. I'm quite fascinated to discover it. So this is the title card. That looks nice, doesn't it? I imagine that's Judgment. Okay, so what's this now? We have a little bit about Luigi Scapini. And we're into the cards. So they've got quite a big border around them. Compared to the Rider-Waite-Smith, they're taller and a little bit wider. Do it on this side so we can see properly. There we go. So just a smidge narrower, and then they are taller, but we have got quite a big border around the outside of the image, so that's something to take into account. They have got that sort of that old world feel to them, haven't they? So let's just take a little look at the cards. I'll just do a silent walkthrough for us. Okay, so that was the deck. It wasn't what I was expecting. I was just expecting a pip deck, but we've got pips with illustrations on them, which is really interesting. And Some of them are really quite comical. Look at this one. How funny is that? I think I'm just going to have a look at the guidebook for that 8 of Wands. And we've got, oh, she doesn't want to know, does she? Oh, this is so interesting. Right, let's find it, 8 of Wands. See how much detail we get in the book, being a tiny little white book, or if we've just got to go to the meanings that we associate ourselves. I'm just looking for the 8 of Wands. 8 of Wands, okay. I'll hold the card up. 8 stakes support vines bearing ripe grapes. Soon wine will be made in the village. Among the vines in the foreground, a youth declares his love to a coy woman. In the middle, the same couple, okay, is seen fighting, kicking, slapping and biting. At the top, a boy and a girl play. Running and weaving in and out among the vines. The children wear blue and red like the couple. And then we have the divinatory meanings, which are swift activity, sudden progress or movement, speed, hastily made decisions, too rapid advancement. So that's really interesting, isn't it? I mean, they've got the reverse meaning as well, which is thorns of dispute, jealousy, harassment, discord, delay, stagnation, domestic quarrels. So the 8 of Wands is the swift, what we call the swift card, and we usually just see 8 wands. Let me find it in the Rider-Waite-Smith rather than trying to describe it. Okay, so yeah, we just normally see 8 wands swiftly moving through the air. To actually see what doing something too fast can result in. So we made a decision here that hasn't worked out too well, has it? So maybe we made that decision way too fast. So maybe our more optimistic, youthful self was the one that made those decisions. Yeah, because our inner child wanted to play. We found somebody to play with, and it didn't turn out too well. I think that's what that one might be saying. That's my interpretation of it anyway. I like this deck. I really like this deck. I mean, when I first saw it, I just saw this image here and I thought, well, it's just like the Visconti, you know, which I like. I like the Visconti tarot. And I was expecting just pip cards, but yeah, this is so intriguing. And may I say, the star card is the prettiest star figure I think I've ever seen. Let's find you. How gorgeous is that star? That is almost like a John Bower artwork, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, that is gorgeous star figure. I've never seen one so pretty. And the death card is brilliant. Really like that one. Let's find you. Dancing death. Ooh. So, okay, so for the Emperor, the figures underneath are quite small here. You can see them. So look, we've got air there. So we've got the elements. That's cool. Wow, that's really cool. We've actually got the elements underneath here on the Emperor card. But what I noticed as well is in relation to the lower part, so here's a good example, the Chariot. The world spread out before him is tiny compared to the Chariot figure themselves. So I thought that was interesting. There's a lot of, I noticed on the, you know, their Temperance. You see the figures underneath are quite small compared to actually the archetype themselves. So I thought that was interesting. I really liked the Queen of Coins. I thought she is magnificent. So I thought, what should we do? I'm going to have a look at, in the guidebook, a major card, a minor card and a court. Shall we start off with that Queen of Coins? Because yeah, I think she's everything. Let's move some of these out of the way and I'll zoom in so you can actually look at the card without me holding it. An exotic woman is dressed in billowing blue, gold and pink robes, the colours for the suit of coins. She is like the allegory of Venice by Paola Veronese. Well, I assume that's a painting. Yeah, must be. Anyway, she tosses up a coin showing a mother nursing 2 babies, and from the golden bowl in her lap she lets fall an abundance of gold coins. She wears a Venetian crown like the king, for Venice was the Renaissance Republic with an aristocracy of rich merchants. The ground is green, and in the background is a cornfield in July, full of cornflowers and poppies. That's cool, because it's July at the moment, isn't it? A rich dish of boiled ox head, with a lemon in its mouth and carrots to the side, is on the ground, along with a glass adorned with sapphires and filled with precious liquor. To the right is a dish of pills and medicine. The Queen rests her foot on a red cushion embroidered with an effigy of the Kabbalistic demon Lucifuge Russacali. So there's so much imagery on these cards, you know, to delve into. It's fascinating. Absolutely. And then we've got the divinatory meanings for the card. So prosperity and well-being, wealth, abundance, luxury, opulence, extreme comfort, generosity, security, liberty, magnificence, grace, dignity. A rich person who is generous and charitable, a noble soul. And reversed, false prosperity, suspense, suspicion, responsibilities neglected, vicious person, untrusting person, fear of failure. Nice juicy imagery to get immersed in, isn't there? In this imagery in the guidebook. That's just a really informative little white book there. I just wonder how big the original paintings are for this deck, because there's such a lot of detail. I can even see here some Kabbalah, those two there. I don't know. What is that symbol? Shall I go and look it up? So I've just gone and looked up what these symbols mean here. Those two there, Hebrew letters. You see them? Which, from this book here, The Complete Guide to the Kabbalah, little part of it. And it looks like it's this here, Jeth fence, crossbar on uprights. There you go. So there must be a reason for that, although it doesn't say in the guidebook. Okay, so that's the Queen of Coins. Let's have a little look at a minor card. Okay, the Six of Swords maybe. Looks quite, they're all so interesting, aren't they? So let's just have a look at the Six of Swords. Okay, Six of Swords form a mandala with an illuminated centre, indicating a sudden enlightenment by divine grace. The hilts of the swords are messages sealed with black ribbons and blazing with light. The rider, St. Paul, falls from his horse on the road to Damascus when God makes his presence known to him. Oh, it's a biblical reference. Okay, the horse rears in fear and Paul is blinded by the divine presence. It's the story of the road to Damascus. That's interesting. Divinatory meanings: a trip or journey, travel, void, route, headstrong attempt to overcome difficulties, expedient manner, success after anxiety. Gosh, so we've got some biblical references. Interesting. And let's have a look at a major card. Which one should we go for? I'm going for that star because I think she's beautiful. So let's put the star card down and have a little look at the guidebook for that. A young woman kneels on the edge of a pond. Her long blonde hair flows around her naked body to meet the ground perfectly. In her left hand is a Doric protogeometric vase, indicating Doric rusticness and simplicity. In her right hand is an Attic vase, reflecting elegance and fine intelligence. Above her are 2 stars, one with 8 points and the other with 5 points, and symbols of the 7 planets of the ancients. A bit dark those, a bit difficult to actually make those out. Well, I think I can see the sun, I can see the moon. Those are quite difficult to see. Near her is a Rosicrucian rose, which is here, which we see on the back of the Thoth deck, don't we? Which is reflected on the water, which must be there. A raven perches on the rose as a personal sigil of the artist who was inspired by the star. 2 hills are behind the woman, and an acacia bush on one of the hills is a symbol of grace and love. And then divinatory meanings: hope, faith, inspiration, bright prospects, mixing of the past and present, promising opportunity, optimism, good omen, spiritual love, ascending star, astrological influence. It goes on and on and on. So there's a good lot of information in the guidebook. So it's worth reading that guidebook because there are symbols in this deck that need further investigation, I think. So it's a study deck, I would say. But I think it would actually add layers to your understanding of tarot if you're willing to put the time and effort into it. And I think it's worth it. It's a beautiful deck. Beautiful. I'm glad I've got it. Really glad I've got it. So yeah, that's my first look and initial impressions of the medieval Scapini tarot, which is a mass market deck from US Games by Luigi Scapini. Beautiful deck. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye friends. Bye.